Assalamualaikum, and a very good afternoon. Thank you for having me, and on behalf of ACCA, to be part of this Future Summit in Karachi today. I'm truly honored to be here and to be part of this panel of esteemed professionals and business leaders speaking here today. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world where every 30 seconds we waste 12 tons of food, and at the same time, 2 people die from hunger in the very same 30 seconds. So it's a contradiction, and we just came back from lunch, so I hope you didn't waste any food. So what does it mean for you and me, and the business that we are associated with? Can we influence change to minimize such contradictions in this age of information and connectivity? So I know it's lunch, after lunch, and so I would like to see a show of hands. Who believes you can make a change? You're the business leaders. MashaAllah, thank you. Yes. I believe, yes, we could, and I think that's why you're here, and we must. And there is a business case to act as responsible investors and businesses as intergenerational value creators and protectors. And we, as professionals and business leaders, we must lead the way. And okay, so let me ask you a second question. Where do you feel, you've had one whole day and a half day today, and you're on your last leg of your summit now. Where do you feel you are now in this sustainability journey? In a rating of 1 to 3, right? And just put up your hands, 1, 2, or 3. 1, I've not started, or you can say 0. 2, you have started, you're not there yet, or 3, yeah, I'm on board, I'm leading the way. So 1, 2, or 3. And some just, I have no idea where I am, not even up. I don't know, I'm lost. So, well, it's okay. So, we are now, before I start, let me talk to you a bit about ACCA and what ACCA is doing in the sustainability and ESG sphere. Okay, ACCA, so we're accountants, so a lot of numbers here, yeah? So we are a global professional accountancy body where our core values of integrity, innovation, and inclusion acts as a force of public good for creating opportunities. ACCA has been around for 118 years and intends to be around for more. So we are really in on being sustainable, and we have to be sustainable to be around for more years. So we are committed to 9 UN SDGs out of the 17 UN SDGs. And I'm pleased to say that ACCA is progressing well, with a community of 783,000 members and future members across 179 countries who support ACCA in our ambition to make a difference in the world we live in. So ACCA is rich in relevance, qualification, and professional insights helped us to engage with businesses, governments, and civil societies in a meaningful way and develop solutions for emerging challenges and opportunities which are economically viable and realistic. In Pakistan, I'm sure you're familiar with ACCA Pakistan office, yes? Yes? Oh, not so much. Yeah. I think, Asad, you've got to do more work. So anyway, our Pakistan office is here. Do reach out to them. and for any collaboration or efforts that we can assist here or anywhere else in Pakistan. I mentioned earlier about professional insights, and this is what ACCA does in terms of research. There's various topics that are relevant to the profession and businesses at large. So one of the latest research theme is accounting for a better world. And it has identified the 7 key priorities in transforming the profession, not only the accounting profession, but the business landscape. So I won't be going into the details of the 7 priorities. That's a different agenda all in all, but you can read it in ACCA's website on the future of the profession. So you can take a snapshot of this. So in that research, Building Sustainable Future, I have extracted the Asia-Pacific summary, which shows that only 10 of businesses are involved in dealing with change. So I can see all those people that have not raised your hand up just now. I think you're the 10%, yeah? And then 12% have net zero targets by 2050. So those very, very few people that raised their hands just now and put 3, yeah? 3. You're the 12%. Very few have net zero targets. But 67% say their future careers, including taking action on climate change, is important to them. Yeah, it's dependent on them. So I think those are you all here in this room, the 67% who thinks it's important. But, you know, what action have we actually taken, right? So that's food for thought for you. So now employees and specifically young professionals are very concerned about climate change. And those are the hope for us to act as the change agents and drive businesses to become more responsible in their investment and consumption decisions, which has an impact on the environment and overall sustainability. So the future, there's hope, and there's 67% thinks there is a need, but we need to make it 100%. So in the research, the impact of climate change varies across countries. So we did a whole research across the world, and the impact also on different dimensions, from regulatory impact all the way to asset impact. And you can see, we, Pakistan, we're in Asia Pacific, that blue chart there. So you can see it's quite consistent across the globe. So where, again, I ask you the question for you and your businesses, where are you now in managing this impact? And these are the impacts that you have to look into, because it is coming, it is there. The World Economic Forum Global Risk Report, the recent one, highlighted that environmental risk has moved further up in terms of severity over the long-term 10-year time frame, right? So you can see the green ones, those are all climate-related, ESG-related things, and over the next 10 years, it's moved up. It's very important. So the interplay between biodiversity, pollution, natural resources, consumption, climate change, socio-economic drivers, that's all a very, very dangerous mix. And you can see that happening even now, right? And I'll go into that a bit later. So given that over half of the world's economic output is estimated to be moderately to highly dependent on nature, the collapse of ecosystem will have far-reaching economic and societal consequences. So And these are some examples, yeah, and increased occurrence of zoonotic diseases. So that's a big word, zoonotic. I learned that quite recently as well. Those are diseases transmitted between animals and humans. So this COVID that we're facing, that's now. So it's not the future, it's not the 10 years. You're there now, seeing the impact that I'm talking about. And the next one, example, a fall in crop yields and nutritional value. It's happening now. Yeah? Loss of livelihoods dependent on food systems and nature-based services like pollination. That's happening now as well. Sea levels rises and erosion from the degradation of natural flood protection systems like meadows and coastal mangroves. So, and even more dramatic floods, such as experienced here recently. And my condolences to all those who had family and friends affected by that. But that's the reality now. So it's not the future when we say it's 10 years. It's not the future. It's here now, and it's going to be more happening. So can you avoid it? So the 10% that I mentioned just now, can you avoid it? Do you put your head in the sand? It's happening already, right? So businesses are expected to restore the natural circularity cycle and demonstrate their intangible interventions as responsible investors and consumers of natural resources. So half of the global GDP is moderately or highly dependent on nature, and its services is therefore exposed to nature loss. So the three largest sectors that are highly dependent on nature are construction, agriculture, of course, and food and beverages. So by 2030, which is not so far away, US 15 trillion and US 68 trillion, respectively, will be inherited by the millennial and the Gen Zs via multi-generational wealth transfer. So now this generation is very far more eco-sensitive and vocal compared to their previous generation, compared to my generation. And I know because they're my children, and I think they're your children as well, right? So you know, they are the ones who set the direction for investments going forward and products. Businesses who are not following this circular economy, this chart here, yeah, including the end-of-life product responsibility, may not fulfill their investment and consumption criteria. Investors, customers, and regulators are demanding disclosures, tangible actions, and product stewardship from businesses. So, are your businesses ready? Are you willing to risk this and lose your prime customer base investments? So, the regulations are increasing, yeah, and getting tougher. If we look at the global picture, many regions have mandated minimum disclosure requirements for businesses and their value chain. There's over 600 standards, directives, regulations, frameworks, laws, and many more introduced to create visibility and aggregate data to assess the practices and impact on climate. It's quite overwhelming, and I sit on a few boards, and it's very overwhelming to be in compliance. So in global trade, many business sectors have faced challenges to access markets or preserve their earnings if they cannot demonstrate critical interventions and progress around climate change. This is a real reality now, and I share you an example of recent news of Shell. I don't know if any of you have read that news, right? The directors have been personally sued over their climate change strategy. Yeah, it's not enough, and their case is that they failed to prepare for net zero. So out of the blue, you get a suit personally against you. So that's the reality, yeah? So the shift to a low-carbon economy is not just inevitable, it's already happening. You need to do that, yeah? So nevertheless, good news for accountants, because now, for accountants, you need accountants more than ever to go through all this navigation of minefield of regulations. So there you go. So always look at the bright side. But if you're not convinced yet, I've summarized this. There are economic reasons to integrate ESG and sustainably focus on business planning and operating models. Ultimately, to survive, businesses need to be sustainable. Businesses need these elements I've put in these bubbles, yeah, in order to survive. So what does this bubble say, yeah? The red is the economic initiatives, blue is social, and gray is governance. So that's ESG. So these are the things that you need for the future to be sustainable. So investment, customer retention, and people are core for any business. Going forward, again, the millennials as the key decision makers and regulators, as key custodians for the national, regional climate action and adaptation plans, will restrict the companies from accessing their financial resources and consumers. Could I just see a show of hands? Who are millennials here? Right? So just a few. So the rest are boomers. 2. I see 2. 3. So the rest are boomers. God help us. But those are the ones that's going to be leading the future, and this is what they're looking at, yeah? So on the other hand, businesses will have a leading edge over others to access new markets, charge a premium, access green funding, retain people, build brands, and stay compliant. So these are the plus points if you are on board. In short, there is a time-bound opportunity for countries like Pakistan to adopt and embed sustainability agenda in their operating model and communicate it well, because what's not seen is not heard, eh? Yeah, so communicate it well to the world, attract investment, and open new markets and customer segments. So this slide just summarizes the ACCA's efforts on the actions we've taken for businesses to act as intergenerational value creators and protectors. So on the left are the actions, and on the right is, if you don't take the actions, those are the risks. So I'm not going to go through it, just take a photo, go home, and take action, okay? So take a picture. No one's taking a picture. Thank you. There's one gentleman that's taking a picture. Please, there's only this 10% in this room. Your 65% think that you need to take action. Take action. Okay, thank you. So as business professionals, we can influence board agendas. You are the leaders. Influence the board agendas. Set sustainability-linked KPIs. Create visibility through reporting and access funding. There are several limitations on a business will face if they don't act today. So the number one concern, loss of customer, lack of investments. So it's very important. So call to action. There's 5 call to action, ladies and gentlemen. This is my last slide in conclusion, yeah? So take a picture again, because you're not going to remember this. So these are some of the recommended actions from ACCA. Devise a national regional adaptation plan, and relate finding where the governments, intergovernmental committees set the national or regional priorities for climate change. Devise strategies and arrange funding accordingly. This then becomes an agenda for ministries, public and private sector entities. The second, build your common framework. Taxonomy, the framework for taxonomy for sustainability finance and reporting frameworks. It's important to have standard definitions for financial products, sustainability-focused products, assets class, and reporting. The third one is review your supply chain. I talked about the cyclical economy just now, and it's not a theory. And, you know, the cradle to grave and back to cradle, incorporate sustainability considerations in your trade agreements. In today's economic ecosystem, products are manufactured across multiple jurisdictions before it takes shape in the finished product and is exported. Pakistan is an exporting country as well. So it's essential that entire value chains is committed to that sustainability, because they will ask for your green cert going forward. Are you ready for that? You know, your exports will be at risk. So you need to start collecting data, you know. You need to be scope 3 carbon compliant. Are you ready for that? You know, form policies and advocacy for green finance. Regulators, investors, and businesses should help form policy frameworks, create awareness in the circle of influence, and help attract green finance for ESG or sustainability-focused interventions. It's a long-term investment, but it requires low cost of capital. And last but not least, the one that binds it all is technology and data. You need this for reporting and assurance. So here I go again. Accountants, technology and data companies need to come forward and build a mechanism for collecting, reporting, and verifying data. So with that, I've given you a list of homework, right? All the action items. Ladies and gentlemen, I end my presentation with the question I asked earlier at the start of my session: where are you now on this journey of sustainability? So I won't ask for the show of hands again, but bring that home and think about that. Where are you in those lists of actions? What are you going to do about it? And how will that impact your business? Because, ladies and gentlemen, it will impact your business if it has not already done so. So please take action. Thank you for being such a wonderful audience and make you work a bit. And also to the organizers for building such a meaningful conversation on such an important thank you.